All right, so welcome and thank you for joining us for our first MicroAge Talks Technology webinar of 2024. My name is Maria Fiore and I'm the Director of Operations here at MicroAge, and I'm joined today by my colleague Sergio Lima, who's the Director of Customer Success. Welcome, Sergio.
Hello, everyone.
So the economy has been making the headlines for quite a while now, from interest rates to inflation to are we or aren't we in a recession. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's difficult for organizations to navigate and operate within an uncertain environment like this one. So today's conversation will revolve around ways that an organization can navigate through the uncertainty from an IT perspective, because that's what we know. So but before we get started, I'm just going to give you a couple of housekeeping notes. First, as you probably noticed, all attendees are muted. This is so that we can reduce the background noise. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation by using the questions panel of the webinar tool. The webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be sent to you within the next 24 hours for your review or to share with people you think that would benefit from listening in. In the same email, you'll receive a link to download the free ebook that we're making available to you today. If you'd like a copy of the PowerPoint, you can download it in the handout section of the webinar tool. So you can go ahead and download it now if you want. Lastly, at the end of the webinar, you'll receive a short 3-question survey to gather your feedback. Your feedback is really important to us. It helps us just improve our webinars in the future. And so we would really appreciate it if you take just a moment to give us your feedback. So before handing things over to Sergio, I'm going to take a minute to give a brief overview of who we are for those of you who may not know us. So MicroAge is a Canadian technology service provider with 39 locations across Canada. We've been providing IT services and solutions to our clients since 1981. The key for us is to understand your organization, your operations, your clients, your people, your goals, your challenges, your opportunities, because understanding these things helps us recommend and provide the IT services and solutions that are right for you. So in a nutshell, that's who we are. With that, Sergio, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Maria, the virtual mic.
To the virtual mic, that's right.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this first webinar of the year. And what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about the economy, taking a look at your IT priorities. Let's see how the economy influences or plays a role in determining your priorities and your IT and security, cybersecurity posture, taking a look at options like possibly, obviously there's the budgeting and strategic planning around that, maybe possibilities of outsourcing certain things, looking at the government programs that could be available, and if you qualify for them, that also may help in your investments. And obviously, if you deal with managed service providers or technology providers, we're there to help you. Obviously, we can leverage the manufacturer's offers and discounts and little special bids and stuff that we can and help to get you that additional discount, so you don't have to pay the full price. And that comes along with financial or financing options that are possibly available if you're looking towards the operational cost versus the capital. We could take a look at that as well. So let's look at the economy, and just a warning, I am not a financial economist by any means. These are the stats that have come out that are projected by, I believe, the
BDC,
the BDC, the bank,
the Development Bank of Canada,
the Development
Bank of Canada. Actually, some of these stats are from the Bank of Canada as well.
Correct. So GDP, what's GDP? Well, it's the gross domestic product. It represents a monetary value of final goods and services that are made within a region or a country for a given period, right? So the indicator is important. Why? Because it measures the economy, the health of your economy of a specific country. So we're talking about Canada's economy. Obviously, is it growing? Is it shrinking? Is anything happening? Maria, you mentioned that in the morning. It feels like it's neutral, stagnant right
Yeah.
now at the moment.
Well, at 0.9% growth, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, the projected growth for Canada is 0.9, according to BDC. I mean, the target for sustainable long-term GDP is 2. However, I don't think that we're going to hit that target anytime in 2024. It feels like it's going to go towards 2025. You actually see some of those numbers. If you do a little bit of research, you'll see a lot of the next couple of slides are all talking about um, I guess they're trying to be optimistic, right? They're telling you what's happening this year with the hopes that it'll get better for next year. But all in all, it looks okay. Um, Inflation is the measure of the overall rise of prices and goods and services that are given over a period of time, and obviously it's challenging for all of us, you as a customer and us as a supplier or as a service provider, because it makes it difficult to budget and operate because we're dealing with unpredictable price increases everywhere, from the goods to the services to subscriptions to labor, everything. You name it, it changes on a regular basis. The projected rate is 3.5% for the first half of 2024, going down to 2.5. Again, I don't see that going anywhere close to 2.5 at the end of this year, most likely going to 2025. Same thing for interest rates, right? They're higher than we've seen in recent years. And it does impact growth. It causes the economies to just slow down. And the Bank of Canada will begin to lower its rates somewhere after the first half of 2024. And even at 2.5, they're calling that a neutral level. So it's not even a good level, to believe it or not. So, and again, towards 2025. But the good news is the economy is expected to stabilize. It's not going to get any worse. So they say. Not my words.
Well, this is what the uncertainty is about, right?
Yes.
They're all
Yeah.
hedging a little bit, right? Like, oh, it
Yeah.
might, but it probably, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot of uncertainties, right? Geopolitical, politics, conflicts, persistent inflation, consumer business cautiousness. It's all there, and it's a kind of an intangible stat that we can't really measure right now, anyways. So let's look at the priorities. How does that affect you? Well, let's go through what we call the business review. So it serves for organizations and IT service providers for many perspectives. I mean, one of them seems to be the most value are the conversations around managing your risks, um, aligning your business objectives, opportunities for improvement, long-term strategic discussions. These are conversations that help identify your priorities or rank them in order of urgency, and then you can plan them out and budget them, right? Why is it important? Because right now we live in a world where we're cautious. We don't want to touch anything, yet we're not doing the exercise to see what's our priority. And you may be missing out on something that could cause a little bit of an issue within your environment if you're not technically sound, let's say, which actually starts with the first one, right? So managing your risk starts with what we call technical debt, and it has absolutely nothing to do with money, but it's sort of. It's the aging technology that you have within your environment. So it could be equipment, it could be applications, both solutions. They are a risk factor due to several reasons. Example, technology that's no longer supported by the manufacturer. So the manufacturer will not support any kind of technical support or patching, bug fixes, security patches, etc., for certain products and software. And obviously, what does that do? It leaves your technology vulnerable to cyber attacks, compromising your systems, and of course, leaving you open to additional costs when you have to call someone and get help and get that fixed or replaced in an emergency. So obviously, again, if your technology gets old, it ages, there's more of a chance that there's downtime. There's an additional cost, or there are additional costs in maintaining and keeping technology that's obsolete, operating systems that are no longer supported, etc. Systems that are legacy, sometimes have an inability to be compatible or to communicate with modern technology. A good example could be maybe you've been updating your Microsoft Office products, maybe your operating systems as well, but you have that application that's dated back to 1990s or so, early 2000s, and you can't really change it right now because it's an expensive solution to replace. However, you're updating one section that is trying to communicate with that application, and then it ends up causes compatibility issues. It becomes difficult and expensive to find technical expertise. It could be an application that was developed by someone or an entity that is no longer there, and now you have to find somebody. And then obviously the price of supporting and or developing changes and optimizing becomes a very expensive proposition. So it acts as an inhibitor to the advancement or the achievement of your objectives, right? If you're limited by this specific application or system or hardware, um, that obviously opens up to risk and stops you from moving forward or being any from any proactiveness at all and productivity. So the biggest factor is is really the cybersecurity factor. Do you have all of the minimum requirements that are in place? Because whether you like it or not, these things have a great impact on whether or not on I guess on containing the amount of expenditures or unplanned expenses. Patching your systems, making sure they're patched, access management, making sure your systems are being accessed in a secure way. Again, referring back to old systems and old applications where they're possibly you're probably accessing them in a way that is no longer secure by today's standards. And again, leaving you open to vulnerabilities and the risk of being attacked. Protecting your endpoints, with next-gen antivirus. The biggest factor is the multi-2FA or the multi-factor authentication. Some old applications, some older systems do not support 2FA, which once again leave you open to there's a vulnerability, there's a way for a hacker to get in, causing damage and essentially, having you spend a little bit more money than you really wanted to this year. And that's always tied into what we've always been preaching for the past X amount of years is the cybersecurity awareness training for your employees. You want them to not be the weakest link. You want them to be part of your security solution. You want them to be the front line and helping you protect your environment and not just by clicking on anything they see and just letting them right in, right? And then there's now more and more now you're looking at the privacy and the data governance. Are they being met? Are the older systems capable of doing that for you? Are they is your information stored in a secure way? And at the end of it all is your plan B or plan A, plan B for backup, let's call it, your cyber resiliency. How quickly can you recover from something going wrong? Very costly if you're not prepared. Because it's going to be a fire that they're trying to put out, and you'll be throwing a lot of money at that. So make sure your backup, recovery, replication, and your incident response strategy or process, something needs to be put in place so that in the event of a cybersecurity incident, you have a quicker way to come back and not have to spend the additional money for that. So what do we do to look at the improvement or alignment or long-term goals? Well, we do this on a regular basis with our customers that we manage. The previous slides, we can help organizations meet productivity or efficiency targets and your organizational goals, your long-term objectives. These are conversations that they help identify what needs to be looked at right now, the priority, and we're listing it. And everyone knows that you have a whole slew of things that you want to take care of. But if you're not documenting it and it's not visual for you, it is very difficult to take the right to first of all, to do one at a time. And it's very difficult to prioritize it because you're pretty much doing everything and nothing at the same time. So, the conversations we have is understanding your business and helping you to identify your technical debt and list out what the priorities are, along with planning, scheduling, budgeting with you, and then you can make the decision on whether or not you want to implement it on a monthly basis, on a quarter, X amount of improvements this year. Maybe next year you have other ones. It helps you prioritize which ones should be done right.
And budget, right? And
and
budget
budget.
for
Yeah,
them. So we get back to, how do you deal with the economic uncertainty? Well, you know, identify your priorities and then put budget towards them and plan them so that you can
yeah,
get them done and not, you know, by risk and by what you want to accomplish, right? So
yeah. We do also technical alignment assessments or reviews. It's a questionnaire that we ask our customers as well. And it's funny because you ask them a slew of questions, maybe 50, 60 questions, and it's only when they see it on paper that it's, oh, okay, yeah, I knew I had to do that, but now it's on paper, So now that it's visual, we're visual, right? Human beings are visual. Now that it's on a piece of paper that says this is first, this is second, this is third, this is what you're looking at in terms of budget, it becomes easier to manage or to take decisions on what to do, right?
so if you're
So
not having those conversations with your IT providers, you know, have those conversations because they
yeah,
can help you identify your priorities, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
and from an IT perspective, I mean, we're
yeah.
always talking IT, right? So
Exactly. So now that you've identified what you have as priority, ask yourselves the question, are these things that I can possibly outsource? Meaning you may have some IT staff, um, or you may not have IT staff. Now the question is, you have to weigh, not just the cost of that actual solution, but you got to weigh the burden of that employee or that resource that will be doing that job, and maybe you can use them to do other stuff, and that again, that conversation, we have this with our customer, and we weigh the pros and cons of outsourcing specific services, specific solutions. Doesn't have to be the entire, your entire IT network. It could be specific things. Example, you have a technician that is good at doing your end user support, but you're worried about your IT and your cybersecurity posture. Well, we can help with that. Or vice versa, you have a very good admin that is managing all of your infrastructure, but at the same time, you don't want to use them for your end user support because it'll take away from your infra. So again, MicroAge is there to help you outsource specific tasks. Another example would be us as a location. Many years ago, we decided we wanted to implement a proper CRM, and we do have the expertise and people in house to do that. But you know what? It's the same technicians that are serving you as a customer. So did we really want to use their time to do something internal and take that time away from our customers? And the answer was, well, we just outsourced, the full CRM implementation and the support. And that way, we have an outside firm that is managing our CRM operational side, I guess, making sure it's functional, making sure the backups are done. And that way we can focus on our core business, which is providing service to our customers. So, this is overlooked a lot of times by organizations, uh, mainly because the economy is unstable and they don't want to make a change. Or maybe you're looking at hiring a technician. Um, you have to weigh the budget on having a technician with all the benefits versus possibly outsourcing some of that to a firm that may work for you in terms of budget. Now, the government, and we've been doing this for years, the government has programs. And it would be interesting to explore all of these grant programs. It's the federal and the provincial governments often put in place programs that help organizations with what they call digital transformation and adoption. Um, so, they may help you with a financial burden for projects that are qualifying, right? So, I mean, we're not the experts at that, but you'd have to work with your accounting, with your controller, finance side. If you have financial advisors, or if you have an organization that is doing all your accounting, talk to them. They are aware of the government programs that are available that can help determine, which ones you qualify for, how to apply. They'll assist in the application, and hopefully you can, maybe you can leverage, whatever the government is offering to lessen that burden, right?
yeah, so
And yeah,
there are specialized firms too that
yes,
will dig around and find programs that might be pertinent to what you want to accomplish. Now, not everything qualifies, and there is an application process, and like you have to still you know do some work, but sometimes the funding is helpful.
yeah.
So
Again, I'll use ourselves as examples. We've leveraged some of the programs that they've had. We've qualified for a few, so why not? We can do it.
yeah.
And then, by all means, don't just shop around online and assume that that's the cost of the solution or the product. Um, you work with your IT provider, determine the offers that the vendors have, the manufacturers have. A lot of times they're not posted online anywhere, they're not published. You're not aware of them, but we are as a service provider, as a partner of some of these vendors. So we get promotional pricing offers all the time, and we can work with them to try and get you as much discount as possible. We'll compare equipment from, same or different manufacturers with slightly different specifications that maybe would fit your needs anyways. Um, we're looking at different application subscription models and levels. If you're looking to put in a particular solution, we can help with the selection of the right product that fits your needs. Why? Because we know the IT aspect and your business, so we can combine them together and come up with the right solution, or at least guide you into choosing the right solution. And then the important thing to remember is just to work with your IT service provider to identify these opportunities. Because we gladly like to speak to manufacturers and have them cut as much pricing as possible. We love that. I hope no vendors or manufacturers are joining.
Well, I mean, we're trying to help our customers, right?
No,
And
but
you
yeah,
know,
and to be honest, the manufacturers actually want us to leverage whatever
yeah,
they have in place.
when they can,
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
yeah, yeah. And obviously, if we're working with these manufacturers, distributors, etc., there are quite a few options that we can look at in terms of financing.
We
So,
we have we did. So
oh,
the
we did the
the
French and English.
title is in
Yeah.
French instead of, yeah, so
Oh well.
sorry about that.
Yeah, is there finance options? So look at the financing options that financing, leasing, and what we call as a service option. So, I mean, we all know financing and leasing. So, upfront capital, if you don't want to spend that, we can figure out, with the vendors, with some financial institutions, what options you have for leasing equipment, or what financing options we have available. Again, your IT supplier, IT provider can help you with that. But we can also help you with the as a service. So if you're looking to not invest in the capital and want some sort of a device as a service or solution as a service, uh, we can offer the every user gets a laptop or desktop along with the managed services attached, along with the Microsoft subscription, along with any other services you want to tack onto that. Then it'll be as a service, right? As you add users or remove users, take away the machines, we add more machines, and it fluctuates with usage, I guess, of what you have in place. Again, it's operational and not capital,
Yeah,
but could be an avenue.
these programs, though, we have to say there are qualifications, there are,
Mhm.
there are restrictions as to the amount of times you can change the number
Correct.
of
Correct.
desktops, for example, that you have, but
Yep.
it might be an option. It's always good to explore those options to see if you can
Yeah.
take advantage of those, right?
Yeah. And many years ago, there were limitations such as you need to have at least 100 machines to qualify for leasing or as a service stuff. That's not the case anymore. So all the vendors and financial institutions have lowered their bar, I guess, lowered their entry level stuff. So all SMBs can profit from something, guaranteed.
Hmm.
So our summary, um, we have no control on the economy, obviously. But let's focus on what we can control, right? Let's determine the priorities. Let's do some budgeting, planning, take a look at outsourcing, see if that's something that would work for you. If you want us to do our homework for manufacturer offers, for financing options, the government programs, we can help with all of that. Those are some of the ways that we can help, obviously, to go through this uncertainty, this economic uncertainty, and try and achieve your goals. I mean, it's as simple or as complicated as that. And
Yeah.
with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Maria.
Nothing is simple,
I don't
Sergio,
have the
but
magic
yeah, I
formula. I
mean,
don't have the magic formula, but we can definitely help plan properly
yeah, and
for
these
you.
are some of the ways that we can help, right? And
Yeah.
navigating this uncertainty and getting through this, so that you can plan. And at the end of the day, it's a process that should be used all the time. Like, it shouldn't be just when there's uncertainty, but it
Hmm.
definitely helps to, you know, put plans in place and budgets and stuff like that. So as Sergio said, so this is the part where I talk about a free ebook. So yes, we have a free ebook for you. The link is on the bottom, but I'm also putting it in the chat. So if you wanted to go download the ebook, it's available. It really summarizes what we just talked about. So you have it on paper, or maybe not on paper, but electronically. So yeah, so you can go ahead and download a copy of that free ebook. So if there's any questions, please put them in the questions panel. But as we wrap up here, it wasn't a long webinar because there's only a few things that we can talk about on this particular topic. But we thought it would be, we're getting a lot of customers asking us, about this kind of thing, like what can we do? We want to accomplish things. We want to, whatever it is, increase productivity or take care of our cyber or whatever it is they want to do, and they're just looking for ways that they can do that. So we thought, okay, we can put something together for the customers to at least think about and see if it would be worthwhile for them to do that exercise. So and that's how this whole webinar came about. So again, thank you for joining us, and we encourage you to download the ebook and reach out to MicroAge with any questions. Also, we wanted to mention that our next MicroAge Talks Technology webinar is on March 14th, and we will be having a guest presenter to talk to us about the Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm sure you've heard a lot about that and AI and all of that stuff in the last little while. So we did do an overview of M365 Copilot in November of last year, but as of January 15th, when Microsoft released Copilot to all organizations, there have been some changes. Plus, what we wanted to focus on for this webinar is also how do you get ready to implement M365 Copilot, whether you're planning this for next year or next month or whatever. There's some planning and prep work to do, or preparation work to do. So that's what we'll be talking about on March 14th. So with that, I don't see any other questions coming in, but if you think of anything, again, reach out to your local MicroAge. They'll be happy to help you. And with that, Sergio, thanks again for your time. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone.
And thanks to all of you for joining us today, and we wish you a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.